Hi, and welcome to today's podcast on the evolution of success. Today we are joined by Steve G. Jones, clinical hypnotherapist. Steve stars in The Evolution of Success and is one of my very good friends, and I'm in close contact with him a lot as it is. But during this crisis that we're all living in right now, with the world going into lockdown, it has been a bit more. I've been in contact with him. Steve is someone who I've always went to with a bit of advice whenever I've needed it. And he was one of the first people I text to ask him, what do you think is going on right now, and what is his opinion? So, Steve, thank you so much for coming on today.
Hey, sure thing, Matthew. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for making this available to help folks out in this time of need.
So, how's everything going on your side over in the States?
Well, it's going interestingly. I myself am in Las Vegas, and they've shut Las Vegas down, so it's just me and a bunch of security guards. So it's actually an improvement for me personally. But a lot of people are in. Yeah, so I actually prefer it like this with fewer people, but that's just me. A lot of people are finding the social isolation situation very difficult in the U.S., and we have a lot more online gaming activity, for example, going on. I know I myself am getting better at my online chess game. So we have a lot of people just kind of turning to themselves and also getting to know their families again. My assistant has got her husband is home from work, and both the kids are home from school, so they're having a lot of family time. So there could be some silver lining here.
Yeah, we have talked about this a lot over the past few weeks. You know, as you know, I was meant to be in LA right now from the 1st of April, and my plans dramatically changed simply because of what's going on right now. But whenever you find what I'm grateful for, I was able to spend Mother's Day with my mom, and I'm also able to spend more time speaking to you in podcasts and doing different pieces of work. You know, for me, it's a weird one because I really want to be in the States, but I'm also really afraid to sort of leave anywhere. How are you thinking people, like what should people do right now to sort of deal with being fearful?
Well, I was just on a show with some medical doctors, as I mentioned to you before this, and I was sharing the concept that I think is very helpful, which is just taking control of the narrative of your mind. That's always a powerful thing to do. And if people haven't already practiced it, now would be a good a time as any. And the way you do that is just focus on, like we've been talking about, the positive things or the future. You know, there'll be the time when this is over and this is behind us, and we'll be on to the next thing. You know, the United States elections are coming up. That's always a big attention getter. So by the time we get there, this will probably be mostly behind us. So putting yourself in a different situation in your mind is more empowering. So putting yourself in the future or focusing on something you're grateful for. Like for me, it's more alone time. And that is going to really help you get in a better position. And also, as I was discussing with the medical doctors, and they were agreeing, the one I was talking to, the thoughts that we have control our physiology. So you're actually taking direct control of your physiological responses, your heart rate, your breathing, how your body reacts, whether it produces some sort of anxiety-related disease or not. So realize the great fear here isn't necessarily getting COVID and dying, which is, you know, the top of a lot of people's minds. The great fear here is letting anxiety get the better of you. And the way to overcome that is to shift your focus to either gratitude or the future or whatever works for you.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, use the gym to go to escape, you know, as I know you go to the gym and got a trainer and everything like that. So what about those people who, you know, haven't spent that much time with their family, you know, in a long time, and have been workaholics and haven't even spent a lot of time even with their children or around children, and are now in a house with maybe 2, 3, 4 kids. It's going crazy. They can't get to the gym, you know, and they're thinking, how do I get out of this situation? So how do you deal with that whenever you're in a family of 5 or 6 and you're in a 3-bed house with a living room and a kitchenette?
Oh my goodness. I don't know how people deal with that in general. I mean, I live alone, as you know, and the gym's still open to me and nobody's there because it's in my building. So I mean, that's something that's really going to take finding your inner strength. It's going to have to be, if I were in that situation, if I had a family that I wasn't around much and then suddenly I am around them, and I wasn't used to it, and I was going a little stir crazy or getting cabin fever, whatever you want to call it, where you'd like to get out sometimes, but the normal things are not available. I would recommend walks in nature. I've been taking a walk in nature every day for the last 15 years. It's not something new that I started, and I continue that. So for me, it's just business as usual. But for a lot of people who aren't used to these concepts, take a walk in nature, take the whole family out, get to know nature, and realize that this is probably more of the way you're supposed to be living anyway. And think about the great takeaways that you can bring into your future. Think about the idea that that you have a family because you wanted one, and the job is to support that. So what you really want is to be with the family, and you've got it. So now make the best of it. Get in touch with nature. I was just yesterday thinking of my mom. She passed away when I was 6, unfortunately. But I was thinking of when we spent time at the beach, and it was all about nature, getting in touch with nature, the water, the sand. Anything you can do to ground yourself is going to be helpful in this time. But the greater lesson here, as I've talked about, and as you already know, Matthew, because you live this way also, is to just have a daily routine that isn't just for emergencies. It's something that always carries you through.
Yeah, we've joked in the office and on our Zoom calls that everybody thinks I've been practicing for social distancing and self isolation for a while now, and I could probably say the same about you. That is actually really good advice, because it is those people that are going to the gym and outside, even when it comes to remote working, everybody in my company and in my organization, yes, we have an office and a studio that we film in and we record in and we work and collaborate in, but we all can work from Daniel's in Chicago, Simona and Dario are in Dublin. They're meant to be in New York right now. There's different people in different parts of Ireland and the UK. And we jump on Zoom and we actually just have been keeping in close connection right now. But there has been people that have just been so used to routine, which has not been the type of routine that you were just talking about. It's been like sitting in a car park or sitting in traffic for like an hour and 40 minutes. And I do agree. You need to then take this opportunity and use it for your advantage. You don't have to sit in traffic right now. Be grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah. And then think about the payoff you've been getting for sitting in traffic because you get to complain about it, and that generates some dopamine. So it's an opportunity to think about your whole thing. We're all set up on a system of doing things and pleasure seeking, getting rewards, and sometimes the pleasure is in complaining. So it's just an opportunity to think about, wow, my whole life is built around doing this, doing that, doing other things that I used to complain about. Now I miss them. Why do I miss them? Well, it's because there was a chemical payoff for engaging in them in some way. Is that a healthy thing? Should I do things differently when I have the opportunity again to go back to that regular routine? Can I make some positive changes that will get me more in line with something that actually makes sense for the way that a human would live ideally? So we have a lot of opportunity in this if we look for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. There is going to be potentially, more than likely, going to be economic downturn for some people, depending on how long this process lasts. Now, I have firsthand of that with the last recession. I got hit hard. It might be nothing. We've never experienced anything like we're going through. I'm not comparing that to this, but we met whenever I was at the peak of my economic downturn days, and you became a mentor to me and helped me through every part of it, and also then started in the evolution of success. And we now work very closely together in many different forms. But I remember very clearly the advice that you did give to me at that time. And if someone's coming out of this the other side, how can they use this time, to sort of fast track themselves into maybe a different form of thinking, or possibly looking at a way out of the routine that they have been in, or the life that they have been, and use this as an opportunity to evolve?
Yeah, it would be a great time to just create a new narrative. Just sit down and write out what you want to change. You have certain things. Do you miss them? Why do you miss them? Do you miss them for a good reason? When smokers don't smoke, they miss cigarettes. It doesn't mean cigarettes are good for them. So you have to think about what you're missing, what you want to bring back in, what you don't want to bring back in. And then, then you can rise like a phoenix from the ashes like you did, Matthew. I mean, I'm so proud of you. You're the most awesome person I know, because you literally went from rags to riches. You were down and out, and you said, no, I'm not going to settle for this. And that's about when I met you, and you're also reaching out to other mentors, and we were all telling you that you have the ability, and then you believed that, and you made it true for yourself, and you lived into it. And so that's what each of us can do right now. We can look at, even myself, some of my routines I'm not able to engage in them because they're interrupted in one way or another. So even I can look at everything and see, is this serving me? Am I serving the greater good by doing this? How can I do this better? And just really take this time to reevaluate and be thankful. That's the main thing here. Be thankful that this happened. This is going to actually produce some good. I know that's hard to see right now, but it really is. And it's the idea of that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's really true. You go through something like this, and as long as you're focused on getting positive things from it, you come out so much stronger. My business really took off in the last recession because we had a business set up that people were turning to. They wanted help, and so they turned to us. So we actually did very well because it's kind of like a bar selling alcohol. When people are sad, they go to the bar. When people are sad, they turn to self-help. They want an answer. So for us, it was very clear. But for anyone who's not set up like that, well, now's your opportunity. You can get certified in hypnosis or in coaching or start a new career. Realize that online careers are probably more durable than something where you have to go to a brick and mortar office, something like what you have set up, Matthew, where your folks can work remotely, or something like what I have set up where people can work remotely. And so this is a tremendous opportunity if we will just look at it that way.
Yeah, and thanks for your kind words there as well about my journey. But yes, you're completely right. I did say in the last economic downturn, I'm going to do everything that I can that this won't happen to me again. And I think that we have been busier in this time. Our team has got busier. We have not stopped. I feel like there's not enough hours in the day, but that's just where we're at right now. But there is two options. You can sit and watch Netflix and complain about what's going on and live on your phone and watch the news. I was then spend some time with my family and my parents, and I chose to move into an apartment for my period of time in Belfast, because I need to have like a clear head. I need to have time to myself, and I need to really step away from the news and step away from the noise that's coming in, because you've got so much of it and you don't realize how much that's sitting in your subconscious and in your chest and in your stomach, and it's switching it off, I think, is a really good start.
Absolutely. And that gets right back to changing your focus, thinking about the future, thinking about what you're grateful for. A little bit of news is good. A lot of news is not good. So you want to know what's going on and what to do. You want to know what the latest numbers are to some degree and how that affects you personally, if there's something you need to do differently, or if something's about to change in the food situation, you need that information. But you don't have to live on TV or on the internet just refreshing the page, getting more and more information. You can just check it a few times a day. You can set times when you do that. The rest of the time, you should be focused on the future, on your plans, on yourself, on mastering your reality, taking this opportunity to realize that you create the narrative of what's going on. If what's going on right now is that you are having the opportunity to press pause from your regular life, reevaluate everything, keep what works, get rid of what doesn't work, become a stronger person, then that's what you should be focused on primarily, and news should be a very small part of your life.
That's like a jam-packed sentence there. There was so much stuff came from that. I was like, God, it just keeps giving. And one thing did come into my head there, just as you were saying that, is one thing that did really happen in my last life and transition into my new one. I realized, and I started asking myself the question, whose life have I been living? Whose life have I actually been living? And that's the thing. And it's like, I was never living life on my own terms for myself. Now I do believe I am, or I'm closer to being purely. But back then, I totally wasn't. And I think that is something that if people just ask themselves right now, because your stresses and your worries that were 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, were they your stresses and worries, or were they your bosses, or your, some other thing in your life that does not exist right now in lockdown?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the negative things are gone. But again, some people like complaining about that. Oh, my boss is so mean, is so oppressive. If it wasn't for my boss, I would be doing this or that. It becomes a scapegoat. It becomes an excuse. So there's an opportunity to evaluate that also. You're free from whatever it was. Most people are, to some degree, free from whatever routine they were in. And do you miss the bad things? That's okay. Be honest with yourself if you do. But why do you miss them? What was the payoff? What does that say about you, the listener? What does that say about you personally? And how can you change that? And if you don't want to change that, that's fine. But this is an opportunity to do that. It's an opportunity to set the reset switch, to change the narrative completely. And you can rewrite that whole thing right now.
I'm so glad that we've done this, because people will now get an insight into what our calls were like, 5 years ago.
Yeah, Matthew, I've always enjoyed our calls.
7 years ago?
I think so. I think it was 2013 when we first started talking, met each other.
It was November 2013. I remember it well. It was the weekend of the American film market, and 2 years to the date, 2015, at the American film market weekend, we filmed your interview for The Evolution of Success.
Yeah, that
Same week. It was actually the same date, and that's whenever I met Anil that night, and Anil was on the podcast, the previous podcast. So, look,
I love Anil.
Anil's
so
I don't
awesome.
know if my saying at the minute is things don't happen to you; they happen for you.
Yeah,
that's what I'm living by at the minute. But look, we are keeping these down to around 20 minutes, so they're bite sized, so people can listen to. So I think we're coming close to the end. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, for being a big part of my life, and also now coming into the community that we are building together, and sharing even more value.
Hey, no problem, Matthew. My pleasure. And thank you for all that you do. I've been constantly inspired by you, and meeting Daniel a few times. That's been awesome too. I do have a free giveaway, a free gift for your audience, if I may share that.
Perfect. Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay.
Been through them all. I went through the one to stop smoking back in the day whenever I smoked.
Excellent. And I don't think I knew that you stopped smoking using one of my hypnosis audios.
I actually got it off your assistant, Catherine.
Okay, excellent.
And I think she sent me it over. Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations, because smoking is something that nobody needs to do, and that is a beautiful thing. My gift today is something that ties into what we've been talking about, which is rediscovering yourself, and what you want to do is tap into your wealth-building potential. Are you a screenwriter? Are you a person who wants to run for an elected office? Are you a person who wants to create audios like I do, or be a producer like Matthew? Is there something within you that you can bring out and monetize, especially in this potentially new economy we're moving into? So I've got a free 1-hour hypnosis audio for you to do just that. It's for tapping into your wealth potential. It's at stevegjones.com. It's just my name, stevegjones.com. Go there. You can download it absolutely free, and it's going to help you turn things around, relax you, and get you in a positive, money-making, future-oriented mindset.
Sounds good. Sounds brilliant. I haven't done that. I might do that one myself. Well, thank you again, Steve, for everything. And I look forward to seeing you whenever the borders open and I'm able to get back out to the US. So.
We miss you here. We need your energy here. Daniel and I need you, your shining light in our country.
First time me and Daniel's worked so far apart in 3 years. We're I'm a bit like, but sure. We will, thank you so much, Steve. And I will talk to you very soon.
Okay, excellent. You guys take care. Thank you for everything you're doing.